Hey everyone, Atlanta United had a rough weekend against the Red Bulls, but thankfully for us, we still have control of the Supporter Shield. But that relies on a big match this weekend against the New England Revolution. We'll dig into all the details of that coming up.
What's going on, 5-Track fam? I'm AJ, this is Tanner McLeod. Before we get into it, become a member of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button. Or if you're on Facebook, hit that like button and follow us as well. So guys, 3:30 this Saturday at the Benz, it's New England Revolution, and it's a critical juncture at this point in our season. But New England Revolution are no pushovers, and they have disappointed big teams in the past, but you know, it's a team that we should be a little wary of, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they might not be the best in terms of their record or their spot on the table, but they're absolutely a team that can create chances. They can create physical chances, a lot of them offset pieces, which Atlanta United are not very good at, especially direct ones where either someone's shooting or someone's crossing into the box. Whenever we give away set plays, never a good sign. However, they are a team that struggles to hold on to the lead and to hold on to the ball, which should play into Atlanta United's hands. I think that Atlanta needs to be very aggressive in this game and go out and press these guys, because if we can get them uncomfortable, I don't know if they'll be able to settle into a match, and you might see something like last season's thrashing. But again, they frustrated teams recently, so it's going to be tricky. You can't look past them.
Yeah, and they've frustrated us in the past too. That earlier match this season, that 1-1 draw at Gillette Stadium, it was, you know, we were peppering their goal and we just couldn't get a result.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you had Joseph Martinez get a neat goal in the first half. Yeah, you had Joseph Martinez get that neat goal in the first half. Then you have chances abound in the second half where Atlanta are constantly creating in front of that net, and somehow with some empty nets and some 2-1-1s, and the ball doesn't go in, and then you give away a last-minute penalty and walk away with a 1-1 draw that absolutely was not deserved. And honestly, those 2 points lost right now could come in handy. But unfortunately, you did drop those points. And, you know, this is a team that hasn't won a lot of games recently in New England Revolution. But they have picked up a result on the road at New York City FC, which is their only loss at home of the season. So
very impressive.
They're a team that can go somewhere and nick something. So Atlanta, again, have to be very smart about how they approach this game, but also should know that they have to go for a result. So it puts them in a tricky situation. They're a team that they don't have much to play for at this point, if we're being perfectly honest.
Yeah, they're out of a playoff spot.
They're out of the playoff spot. They're sitting in 8th. For them, they don't really have a whole lot going for them. They just got thrashed by Toronto, who also aren't going to make the playoffs. But still, it's a team that they're not just... Brad Friedel's not a guy that's just going to walk away and be like, it is what it is, let's take it how it goes. They've only won 2 matches in the past 10. They're going to want another one, and if they could pick up a scalp at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you best know they're going to like that, especially knowing that it would have major implications in the playoff race for the Supporter Shield, and they'd love nothing more than to get back and avenge that 7-0 thrashing they took at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium last season.
Yeah, and you know, of course, yeah, with that, you know, we have been pretty decent against them, undefeated, but still, it's one of those, like, you can't sleep on this team. You know, for them, for their injuries, it's really nothing to speak of. Chris Tierney has been injured since May, essentially, and so they're pretty much a full-strength squad. And for us, we pretty much are, except for our fullbacks that have been out. Garza, that is probably going to be available at the start of playoffs, and then Zizo and Ambrose essentially out for the season. So, you know, we pretty much have no excuses. We need to really pick up 3 points against this team. But, you know, into the standings where they are and we are, we kind of alluded to it, but yeah.
Yeah, they're in 8th, we're in 1st. They don't have much to play for aside from trying to pick up a scalp. We have to win this game, and I think they're going to know that. They're going to know that Atlanta United are, well, in my opinion, Atlanta United should at least be going at them both guns blazing, going at them trying to score as many goals, trying to put this result away as quickly as possible and put a stamp on things and get things turned around, because things are trending down after that Red Bulls result. There's not a good mood around, at least around the city, around the fans. They have to get a result this weekend, and New England are going to know that. And them being a physical team, you might see some different player selection in there, because it could be an Escobar steps in, because one of the things that New England excels at is aerial duels, winning those battles in the air. So
Escobar is really good at winning those.
And those are the things that he is really good at. So that might be an interesting thing you see this weekend. So they're going to know what's up. And even though they haven't been playing their best and they're a little bit lower down in the standings, it's Major League Soccer, and anyone can beat anyone. And as we know at the Benz this season, Atlanta United can just not show up and can just struggle to beat a team that they absolutely should beat, even if they're good defensively, bad defensively, good at scoring, bad at scoring. They can ship a goal. They can not put the ball in the back of the net with the regularity they should be. So I'm a bit nervous about it. I don't know the reaction this team is going to have to that result against Red Bull.
Yep.
So it's definitely not one you can just bat your eyelids at and go, okay, on to the next one.
Right. Yeah, we definitely need to get 3 points in this to keep pace in these standings. And so that gets to our statistical leaders and their statistical leaders. So they have Teal Bunbury and Christian Pania with 11 goals. So they're spreading around a little bit, but definitely not as prolific as, say, our Joseph Martinez, but they're definitely getting goals from unexpected places as well. So Diego Fagundes also is leading their team with 8 assists.
That dude has been on New England for what feels like a millennia. That guy has been there for
around
absolutely ages.
For sure. And, still a major player, part of their team. So a danger man for sure. And, Joseph Martinez, of course, leads our team with 30 goals still. Hopefully you can get a couple more, kind of extend that goal-scoring king record. But and then you got Miguel Almiron with 11. And, in terms of assists, you have Almiron and Gressel with 14. Hopefully we see them get a little bit more in this
Add to
match.
those numbers this weekend. That would be very nice.
Yes, that would be fantastic. But that gets us to our starting 11 prediction. And what do you think for this match, especially coming off of that loss against Red Bulls? Surely we don't see the same lineup.
I would expect we would not see the same lineup. If we did, I would be very concerned that Tata has lost his mind. I would switch to a back four. New England traditionally line up in a 4-2-3-1, similar to Atlanta United with that one striker. I don't think you need to have that extra man at the back, especially at home against a team you need to beat. I think that man would be much better served being in midfield. That being said, I think you could end up seeing a very similar system to what we played against Real Salt Lake with a 3-4-3 kind of, that and a 4-3-3 kind of moving back and forth, and eventually possibly seeing a 5 at the back type setup at the end of the game when you're trying to see out the result. I think you'll see Bella step in. I think you have to see Bella step in my opinion. McCann was woeful at the weekend. You're playing at home against a team you should beat. This is a great matchup for him to come in and play again. I think you might see an Escobar step in for someone. I don't know who it would be, I don't think it will drop Larry, but I think this could be a match that suits him, at least because of the headers and the physicality that he brings to you. But I think they definitely switch back to a back four, at least in theory, with maybe having Lorenowitz, if he starts again, drop into that middle and maybe having that 3-4-3 that we saw against Real Salt Lake.
Okay, yeah. I think for me, 3-5-2 against a team that sits back has worked pretty effectively in my eyes. And so, I think a team like New England Revolution, who are probably going to do that against us. I think for me, it's going to be a Guzan, Gressel, Escobar as part of that 3-man back line, Parkey, LGP, rounding that out, and then Bello as that wing back. Remedi and Nagby in the middle. Almiron, definitely either on the wing, or playing as that 10, and then Tito and Joseph up top.
So Larry being the guy that gets left out there,
I think so. I think we just need to go a little bit more offensive, but still have that solidity.
But I think you offer yourself a lot more athleticism in midfield. And with that lineup, again, I think you end up seeing it play more as a 3-4-3 than anything else, where you have that width coming from Bello and Gressel down the wings, and then you have that hard-working engine room of Nagby and Remedi in midfield covering it about, with Lorenowitz kind of being that guy that sits in there and can either go up, drop back, and do it. I'm not Lorenowitz. In this case, I guess you'd have Parkhurst being able to do that job. Or, you have that pace and that speed and that physicality throughout with guys who can, play in one-on-one situations if you end up, defending them.
Right. And, I know it's kind of more of a a pipe dream type of lineup in a way, because I know that Tata's not going to sit Larry.
He's gonna play Larry.
But I think really at this point and in this juncture, like, we need to get all 3 points. Risking playing Larry in the 3-man back line, or
If he plays Larry in a 3-man back line, I'll lose my mind.
Yeah,
because it just does not. It's not what he does. It's not what suits him. His abilities are so much more well suited to playing as that holding midfielder and being that guy that joins the defense to the attack and sweeps things up. That's what he's best at. That's where his strengths are. That's where his awareness comes in, his wind to come in and clean up the situations. But when he's stuck as a part of the back line, it just does not suit him as a player, and I think it really makes the team worse overall, to be honest.
It's true.
You have a better option in Escobar anyway, whose natural position is there, and who, I've said, plays his best football when he plays in that position. And when he plays in that position, he is leaps and bounds better than Larinowitz in that same spot, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it is where Larry comes in as the holding midfielder and then Remedi is out, okay, maybe it's that, but either
one
way.
One or the other. You know, you have a great sub coming on in Remedi if that's the case. Right. Something that I was curious that we didn't talk about in our on our 5-Star Weekly and kind of our post-mortem of that Red Bulls match was the fact that Escobar got dropped. And as much as I've slated him, I felt it was a bit harsh because I thought he possibly had his best game of the season against Real Salt Lake, and I'd really like to see him in the lineup again because, especially at a center back position, because he showed me some things against Real Salt Lake that I hadn't seen before, and he played really, really positive, and I thought he did a good job, and I thought it was a bit harsh for him to be left out completely, especially to shoot on Larinowitz into a spot that I felt that if you play Escobar there, he might have done a lot better and prevented some of those chances that Larinowitz got caught on.
Yeah, I think it's definitely that. I think Tata Martino has his favorites. Maybe he's just really adverse to sitting one of the veteran type of guys that are just shepherding the clubhouse. Maybe it's, I don't know, but it could be just one of these factors where I don't know, like what it is that Larry has over Tata that he doesn't get dropped. I don't know. But,
to be fair, he usually doesn't do anything that deserves to get dropped.
It's true.
He's one of the most consistent performers on this team. Just, I think it's fair of us to question why he gets continuously played in a position that clearly doesn't suit him.
Very true. But with those formations in mind and all that in mind, what's your predicted score for Saturday?
I'm going to go for a 3-0. I think Atlanta United are going to respond. I don't think New England Revolution are very good. They've just recently got smoked by Toronto, who also aren't very good. And I think Atlanta United coming off matches, especially where they've lost this season, they get 3 points. So I think 3 points are on order again this Saturday. And I think it's going to be a 3-0 win because, again, Atlanta are better and New England aren't. And I think that, especially if Tata at least gets his tactics right, we should win this one comfortably.
Yeah. I think for me, it's a 2-1 win. I think we're going to get caught on the counter, but or a set piece or something like that. But, I think we can, pull out the 3 points that we need out of this match. And, yeah, like you said, we have been, we've responded well after a loss or a draw or just something that has...
drop points.
Yeah, drop points where it hasn't curried our favor. But, yeah, I think, 2-1 will still, suit us well. So, guys, that's our match preview. Leave your score predictions in the comments below. But remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that like button. Share this video because it really does help us a lot. And for Tanner McLeod, I'm AJ. Thank you guys so much for watching.